Can we make an orange slice look like it is glowing even without using white paint? Watch how the glow starts to appear little by little even while we are painting around it. Hi, I'm Beatriz. Welcome back to the studio. Today we're going to be painting these glowing orange slices, and I'm going to show you the simple order that we can make them look juicy and bright without going too heavy with our watercolors. I loved the light coming through the orange slices and the shape of the plate in this reference, but I wanted more drama, so I made one big decision. I did decided to make a change in the background, darkening it, so the glow will be easier to see. So while we're waiting for, let's start painting the background. I am protecting the edges where the dark background touches the orange and the plate. Because this wash will be very dark and very wet, this masking fluid gives me a little insurance. I am wetting the background area first so that the dark wash can move smoothly. Because the paper is wet, I will have more time to move the color around and even out the wash before it starts drying. For the dark, I am mixing my own black with bronze sienna and French ultramarine, and in a few places, I am dropping in a little indigo to create variation. I want this background very dark, but not completely flat. Once the wash is in place, I am going to let it dry naturally so that the dark area dries as evenly as possible. If you want to paint this with me, the paint along pack for this tutorial is inside Open Studio on Patreon, with the tracing templates, reference image, colors used, and the direct tutorial link. I will link all that below. This dark background will help me judge the orange later, but the orange itself still has to stay transparent. Now it's time to remove our insurance, our masking fluid. The background, I'm very happy with choices here. We can go and put one glaze all over and then keep building it up, or we can work in sections. I'm choosing here to work in sections. So let me show you what I mean. I'm coming with my Hansa yellow light, and then I'm gonna put this. I don't want to go very heavy. If I want to keep the transparency, like I mentioned, it needs to be light layers. More diluted. I don't want to bring too much water there and have a big drop. So I dilute it here and then lightly I spread it. And this, and where it's touching the black, that is, I don't want to activate the black. I'm going to start bleeding. These two, blending, sorry. These two sizes and the one behind, the slide behind is where the light is hitting the stronger. So these are the lightest one. I'm gonna wet this section. 3/4. Now that is wet, I bring a very diluted Indian yellow. This is a warmer yellow and I wanna have a little bit of a transition. Again, I'm coming light. Get it to where the water is, start building the glow. A little bit thicker at the bottom. This is not our orange yet. And then we go from more to less. Once I have it here, rinse my brush, and then go with only water. All here is to have a very smooth transition. Part of the orange is going to be a little bit darker, but still I am not going with extra paint. We will come later with more orange. That's all we had to do. However, what I'm doing is I'm bringing this color slightly higher than I did in the other one. Tip of my brush and my Indian yellow, I'm gonna put a few of these things here, kind of like the texture of the orange, and that will add to the feeling of transparency. The inside of our orange dries. Let's just start putting the first layer of some color so that we can start getting rid of some of this white. Very pale gray. This is a mix that I have left over here. Colors are a little bit of neutral tint with a hint of indigo, but very diluted. We just want to give it, like I said, we're going to keep this part light, but it is not white. So but it's slightly darker at the bottom of the plate. I am treating this as an underpainting of sorts. And then let's just wet and have a little bit lighter, like the light hits here as well. And now we are past the white page stage. Nothing is finished yet, but everything is starting to work together. Before I start working on the flesh or the orange, I'm gonna finish the rim and then I'm gonna darken the shadows around the plate. But watch carefully, because although I am not bringing any color to the flesh, it's gonna start feeling like if it is glowing. Why? Because although the darks don't make the transparency, they help it to bring it out. Let's keep painting. This is already taking shape. It's already having some volume. Let's just do it in the last white area that we have left. So again, Indian yellow. As I mentioned before, this part over here is gonna be one of the brightest. So let's go with the Hansa yellow light, but very diluted. So I'm gonna fill all of this first with Indian yellow. Coming with translucent orange by sminking while it's wet. So I have some blending. I know that this is in the shadow. It's gonna make sense in a minute. Wait and see. All right, I'm gonna continue to build the rim by wet a little bit. This part I want it to be light. Then I'm bringing translucent orange. I still having a light touch. I'm not bringing it very thick. Same thing here. Drop your water. Come with the orange. Blend. We keep alternating between the orange, the mix of burnt umber and orange, and then just tapping it with water and dilute it. So it's up to you. You can wet ahead of time. You can go with the orange. You drop the darker color. I'm not trying to make it too even, but darker with the rim separates from the pulp. So I drop some of this orange. In some areas I want to have it more orangey. And then bring the darker color and the other edge. Go with water and let's blend. This part right here will be the darkest. So I'm bringing same color but with more strength. I'm bringing it over here. And this is giving me also the roundness, the shape, the roundness shape that is needed for the orange to turn. So dark colors, yes, I got the like this one light over there, but I am not gonna leave it so light. It is too odd. So bring it here. Just find it a good stopping point, say right here. Okay, so now I'm gonna make this edge a little bit more like together with this other one, only till around here, and tap, 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 allow some of the fresh yellows that we put to show. To finish up our rim, then I'm coming back with orange, mixed with a little bit of the burnt umber. Come over here or there. More translucent orange before I blend. So that is the color that I spread. And then with a brush that only has water, we're gonna tap, tap, tap. Now that I have this, this would be a good time to put a little bit of the shadow. We may come back later and darken it up as needed. This is a step to stop it from being floating in the air. The colors are the burnt umber that I was having with some of the color that was left over of this. It goes from more to less, so let's just bring some of the colors that we were having, the ones that there was having some orange. And now just with some little bit of darker grays than what I was having into the colors that I use for the plate. I'm gonna bring it close to these colors. I'm gonna try to encourage all of these to blend. This with that one and this one with the other one. I'm coming here now with, as you can see, this is going to be one of my thickest. This is neutral tint, indigo, and I got a little bit of red on it. You don't see it yet because it's pretty dark. Wanted to make it look like if it is almost as dark as that, like if it is in a shadow. Say, for example, in this area, I'm going to wait a little bit to mark it. Some of the orange reflections will be there as well. So let me come with the orange. the translucent orange. I had to turn this around so I have a good place to rest my my hand, because I'm trying to build this edge. So this edge is going to come till around here. All right, so I got that edge of the plate. I'm gonna go for more to less, and then while this part over here, it will be lighter. So warm this up a little bit more, otherwise the orange seems to be too light. Now we blend with a brush that only has water. And then we go back to the dark colors. This is all wet, so with the same color that I dropped over here, I bring it and then I spread it, all right? And then we go into the opposite direction because we don't want to have a hard edge, just a soft transition. And now that all the darks are in place, it's so much easier to see the light coming through the orange. And we have arrived to the fun part. We're gonna build the flesh. For that, I'm gonna go with very thin layers because we still want the brightness of the paper to come through underneath all of the layers. So let's get to it. Here I have a mix of the Indian yellow and the translucent orange. And we're gonna start dropping some of this. Again, the reason why we build so slowly is so our layers continue to be transparent, and this transparency allows some of the white of the paper to give us light. That's how watercolor works. All right, and then once again, I wet a little bit here and continue to bring the colors. We're gonna start building a little bit of the texture around the pulp of the orange, so I bring the color around it. We're gonna accomplish that by doing a little bit of negative painting. So I come with some, and then allowing some of the other parts to be light with the colors that we already have. Let's just bring some of the translucent orange, and then we're gonna start working a little bit with this one in the back. Let's just don't forget about it. This is where I had to be careful so I don't get none of the black, okay? Put a very thin line around this edge. When I mean thin, I'm using a number 2. But it has a very good tip. As long as you have one with a good tip, you will be able to do it. So it's already kind of coming up. The orange needs to get slightly darker, so now is a good time to put it on over there with a mix of Hansa yellow light and Indian yellow. I come over here, I leave a little bit of a white area around there. This needs to dry, but while this is drying, we can move back over here at the bottom. The diluted colors that I was having first, we can go ahead and start putting a little bit of the rim of the plate. And because this is too wet for me to rest my hand out there, let's just move it around here. I have a tiny little shadow so that it makes the plate not be flat. And go ahead and put some water and make it go down. Up and then down. And that gives the plate dip, making it look like it goes deeper. All right, let's make this orange juicy. This is my translucent orange, but I am very diluted, coming very diluted. I'm gonna start coming here and then wet with water. Before I get a line, I'm gonna bring it here. One way that we're gonna build this glow is by making sure that we don't have everything even. So in some areas I want it darker, and some other ones we're gonna let show off the colors that we've been building till now. Let's just wet and do this. These 3 are connected, so let's just work on those. Okay, so now we are gonna allow this metal to dry. And while these three dry, we can start working a little bit on these other ones. And here, same color, the translucent orange, we are coming with the tip, and then in some areas I go stronger, and other ones I bleed it. This is doing negative painting around, and basically what we're doing is the light is hitting the strongest here. So this way, it was kind of like as if we're showing a little bit of the pulp of the orange, making it more believable. By going with the, from more to less, I'm coming here with Indian yellow. And now we're gonna let all of this, we had to let all of this dry. This is looking really good. Now we're gonna come with another layer. What I'm gonna do is, instead of having my brush, my blending brush, only wet with water, I'm having it very diluted with Indian yellow, permanent rose, or magenta, whichever you have it. Both of them will continue to work thin over here, because the way that we build the glow is by putting these thin layers one after the other. Now, as I get the bottom ones darker, these ones are almost disappearing. So that's why now, instead of blending only with water, I am coming with the one that has some Indian yellow, so that these colors don't continue to disappear. They're still more pale. Let's continue to fill all of these before lines are starting to form. Then we will come back again and see if we had to put a second one. We need to do this metal as if it is one unit. And of course we need to bring a little bit of this permanent rose into the bottom of here as well. Here only in the bottom. This painting is looking gorgeous. Now we're gonna go ahead and start building some details for this, because I have a lot of layers. I'm coming with a soft brush. A soft brush, ones that is not gonna lift colors. This is my black silver velvet. I don't know what number it is, because I've been using so much that it's went out. I will imagine this is about between a 6 or an 8. I like these because they are very soft, but it also has, I don't know if you can see it, a very, very thin point. Okay, translucent orange and magenta. So I'm gonna go ahead and start putting this section of this orange. So, and put another line here. I don't want it to be all even, so let's just break it up a little bit. And then with the same colors, but dilute them, I'm gonna drop them so that these are there, but there are not so much difference between them and the colors next to them. This is gonna come a little, but it's gonna go from more to less. So it starts with the same color, and it goes into the Indian yellow. Having these transitions is what is giving us the glow. I have a little bit of water that is forming, I don't know if you can see it, it's forming a little blossom. So before, let me blend this up here, and then before the blossom gets too much, then just go with the water and blend it. I still have the seamless transition, and then we continue to build. I'm gonna get it all the way here to this edge, to the next section of the orange. Little details bring more realistic, they make the orange more realistic. So I come over there, all of this is wet, let's just make it go up. I'm coming with very little water. Pick up some of that color, basically no water, because I don't want to have a repetition of getting a blossom again. Just put a couple here and there. We just are trying to get a little bit of texture. Here in the top, I'm just going to come with the translucent orange only, and then drop a little bit like the convergent. Now let's take a little bit of this part, been kind of neglected. So I just come in with the orange and the tip of my brush. So if I put some of this here, I need to get a little bit of the magenta too. Then we are separating this orange slide from the one in the back. All of this is dry. I will come with a little bit more yellow here and it will make it look even more white. I went all the way to the edge, the original Hansa yellow line. We're gonna leave a little bit of white, meaning I'm gonna drop it all the way. And then we're gonna make sure that it doesn't go into the whites that we just finished saving. Right now, to finish this up, I'm gonna get Indian yellow, and then we're gonna brighten a little bit of these areas, the ones that are only lighter, okay? Last pass with the for the glow. I wet very lightly. I'm dropping the color. I am not rubbing. Putting this magenta only here at the bottom is going to make it look as if all the juice is concentrating at the bottom. So it's going to give it even more transparent glow. Make sure that you bring it, these glazes, that you bring them all the way to the edge, otherwise they're going to form a secondary line that we don't want. We want this to be seamless. Now let's bring just a little bit of this color inside here. If I bring it there, now I had to bleed it out. Let's just put a little bit of this color and a couple of these tips right here. And then tap. This is optional. But if this still has a little bit of humidity with almost no water, I'm going to put a couple, I feel like it needs a little bit of texture, so I'm going to put very thin lines. This is my magenta, just to give it the impression of some texture, like I mentioned. Just finished this painting. All we had to do is darken the shadows, the same colors that we were using here. And we're gonna go ahead and start putting the cash shadow. Always closer, darker, whereas closer to the object. All right, so let's just do the rim as if the shadow, obviously, this is the rim of the plate. And it doesn't go all the way there. Let's drop a little bit of this kind of magenta, thick magenta, but come with the black right away. It will be a hint of it there, but it will not be so noticeable. Just with the tip of my brush, I blend this little bit of red with this darkness. Okay. Now we let all of this dry. And here they are our glowing orange slices. As you can see, we did not build the glow by going with white paint, or neither by going heavy with the dark orange. We did that by building the layers slowly and by having enough darks around it to make the glow stand up. As always, the Paint Alone pack is an open studio on Patreon, where you get access to the tracings, painting reference, colors, etc. I will link it below. Let me know what else do you like me, what kind of subjects or techniques you want to learn from me, and in the comments, so that I can plan the next videos. As always, I thank you for being here. I hope you learned something, and I will see you in the next one.